Chapter 25 Independent Learning. Students and trainees should be given more responsibility for their own learning. The learner may require support and direction. In chapters 23 and 24, we looked at how students learn in the lecture and small group settings. Here we look at the importance of independent learning where students take charge of their learning and tailor to their own particular needs. This approach has an important part to play in medical education and should be integrated into the education program. The importance of independent learning. There are a variety of reasons for the increased interest in independent learning. There has been a move from teacher-centered learning, where the emphasis is on what the teacher teaches, to student-centered learning with the emphasis on what the student learns and where they take more responsibility for their own learning. The greater use of strategies such as team-based learning, electives, and problem-based learning draws attention to the importance of independent learning. The excessive use of lectures as a learning experience has been criticized, and there is now more awareness of alternative learning strategies such as the flipped classroom that can be used. The move to an outcome-based model as described in section 2 has made it easier for students to understand what is expected of them and makes it possible for them to create their own personal learning program. When asked about the necessity of attending lectures, students indicate that the main reason is to learn what they should be studying. In outcome-based education, the learning outcomes are transparent. There is an increasing focus on distance learning and hybrid models that incorporate face-to-face and distance learning. Independent learning by the student is a key feature. Students now learn outside of the medical school, including in the community, the district hospital, and clinical skills centers. As a result, they have to take more responsibility for their own learning. With a more diverse student population now admitted to medical school, the learning can be matched to the needs of the individual student. The need for lifelong learning and continuing professional development is recognized. From day one of their training, students have to learn to take more responsibility for their own learning and acquire the necessary learning skills. Advances in technology and internet developments have resulted in rich and powerful learning experiences becoming available. Benefits for the student. Students can benefit in a number of ways. They can choose to work at their own pace, spending whatever time is necessary to achieve the required mastery of the subject. They can decide when and where they study. This may be in the workplace or at home. They can tailor the content of the learning to their personal learning needs. They can select the method of learning and an instructional design that best suits them. Some students are visual learners while others prefer the audio channel. They can engage to a greater extent in deep learning and reflect on the subject as they pursue their studies. They can monitor their own progress using appropriate learning resources and adjust their continuing learning based on feedback received. Independent learning in the curriculum. How much time should be allocated in the curriculum for independent learning? How should independent learning be scheduled? What is the role of the teacher? To what should students be directed or guided? These are questions that need answers. Time allocated for independent learning and scheduling in the curriculum. Some curricula have formal activities timetabled from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m., leaving the student free for independent study only outside these times. This schedule is built on the premise that if time is left for private study, students will not make full use of it and teachers will be underemployed. Other curricula allow 30% or more of the time available in the curriculum for independent study. Independent learning can be included in the curriculum as a replacement for activities such as lectures. It may be used as a substitute for lectures when a new course is planned or to replace lectures in an existing course to allow students time for other activities. As an alternative option to students' attendance at a lecture, podcasts are available for this purpose in many medical schools. Students have the choice of attending the lecture or covering the topic at a time and place more convenient to them. as an adjunct to an existing learning opportunity. The modern equivalent of the reading list includes URLs for online resources and other multimedia. The teacher can provide annotations and comments to assist the student to select the most appropriate resources. For revision or remedial purposes, directed self-learning and the role of the teacher. The teacher's role in independent learning differs from traditional teaching. There is a switch in emphasis from the teacher as the information provider to the teacher as the facilitator of the student's learning. This role of facilitator is more demanding. The teacher needs to be familiar with the needs of the learners and the potential problems they may encounter when working independently. Consideration should be given and decisions made whether students have control of their study time or to what extent it should be managed by the teacher. It is important to recognize that although there is no direct teacher contact in independent learning, this does not mean that students work without support or in isolation. There are strong arguments for replacing the term self-directed learning with the term directed self-learning, as all students benefit from some direction or management of their learning. The need for this will vary from student to student and with the same student in the different phases of undergraduate and postgraduate education. It has been suggested that the level of autonomy given to a student is one of the most important decisions a teacher has to make. Too little direction will result in confusion and inefficient and ineffective learning. Excessive direction will be demotivating and even result in boredom. Study guides. The concept of study guides in print or electronic format to support a student's learning was introduced in Chapter 15. They can play an important part in independent learning. The design and content of a study guide varies depending on its use. In Figure 25.1, the position on the triangle indicates the extent to which the guide has been designed to help students manage their learning and make the best use of the time available, suggest activities to facilitate the learning, provide content to support the student's learning. The study guide may help students develop the necessary study skills to gain maximum benefit from independent learning. Figure 25.1, the study guide triangle with the three extremes identified and a guide with an equal emphasis on content provision. Management of learning and activities represented at X. X. Provision of content, subject information. Guide comprises content-related information. No student activities. No help with learning or introduction to the curriculum. Management of learning. Guide to learning and the curriculum. No content information. No student activities. Activities related to learning. Guide based on student activities. No content information. No help with learning or introduction to the curriculum. Learning resources. A wide range of learning resources are available to support independent learning. These include online resources. An increasing amount of learning material is available for instant access through a range of websites, including YouTube, Wikipedia, and Facebook. There may be a problem, however, with quality assurance. Recordings and podcasts of lectures. DVDs, these offer multimedia images including video clips of procedures or personal commentaries from the author. Books and journal articles. Print has the advantage that it does not require technology. It is highly portable and the text can be easily annotated or highlighted. The curriculum map. Models and simulators. Patients, real, simulated, and virtual patients. The choice of learning resources will depend on the expected learning outcomes, the resources available, and the technology support. Teachers may wish to create independent learning resources for use by their students. It can be a demanding task and is best undertaken in collaboration with an educational technologist or a colleague who has experience in the technology and in instructional design. Just providing students with recordings of teaching sessions is not a satisfactory option. The same general educational principles apply that were described in Chapter 3. Feedback should be provided, learning should be active rather than passive, and the students encouraged to reflect on what they have learned. Students should be able to individualize the resources to meet their own personal needs, and the content should be relevant and matched to the specified learning outcomes.